first thing people notice about Naoya Inoue is what he doesn't do. He doesn't shout. He doesn't posture. He doesn't dance or taunt or beg for attention. He walks to the ring with the same expression he wears when he leaves it, eyes calm, jaw set, as if the violence that's about to unfold is merely another task on his schedule. That quiet composure has earned him a nickname that feels less like branding and more like a warning. In Japan, they call him Suzu the Monster. And over time, the rest of the boxing world has learned that the name isn't exaggeration. It's understatement. Opponents often try to mask their nerves in different ways. Some smile too much. Some talk. Some bounce on their toes and sway their shoulders, trying to look loose, trying to look confident. Sometimes they even dance, clowning for the cameras as if movement alone can keep fear at bay. But there's a moment, always, when the bell rings and the truth arrives. Against Naoya Inoue, that moment comes faster than most fighters are ready for. Once it arrives, there's no dancing your way out of it. Inoue's reputation wasn't built overnight. It was forged through a trail of broken guards, crumpled bodies, and elite fighters made to look ordinary, undefeated, world champion across multiple weight classes. A fighter whose power doesn't fade when he moves up, whose speed doesn't vanish when the opposition grows stronger. The debate around him isn't whether he's great, it's how far his greatness can go, and whether history will eventually place him among the very best the sport has ever seen. That question followed him closely on October 31st, 2020, when he stepped into the bantamweight division to face Jason Maloney. This wasn't a showcase fight. It was a test. A unified title bout against a legitimate contender who believed that size, toughness, and preparation could finally slow the monster down. Maloney understood the assignment. He knew he couldn't admire his work. He knew he couldn't stand in front of Inoue for long. He told himself he had to be fast enough, smart enough, strong enough to make Inoue PE. What Maloney learned, painfully, was that thinking about all of that at once is impossible when Naoya Inoue is in front of you. From the opening moments, Inoue's speed compressed time inside the ring. His first step was explosive, his jab snapping out before Maloney could fully register the distance. Counters landed clean and sharp, the kind that don't just score points but disrupt rhythm and confidence. Maloney tried to move, tried to think his way through the chaos, but every hesitation was punished. Inoue began mixing head and body shots with surgical precision, lowering Maloney's guard one moment and cracking it the next. By the second round, the pattern was already forming. Inoue wasn't rushing. He was reading. He was measuring reactions, noting every flinch, every delayed response. When Maloney attempted to assert himself on the inside, he found himself clipped by hooks and uppercuts that seemed to come from nowhere. Inoue's ability to generate power from compact positions made every exchange dangerous. Even when Maloney thought he was safe, the bodywork started to tell. Left hooks dug into the ribs. Uppercuts split the guard. Maloney's output dropped, not because he lacked heart, but because his body and mind were being overwhelmed simultaneously. It's one thing to be hit hard. It's another to be hit hard without warning, from angles you didn't anticipate, at a pace you can't control. As the rounds passed, Inoue took command of the ring. He led when he wanted to, countered when Maloney grew desperate, and punished every mistake with interest. The difference in class became impossible to ignore. Maloney wasn't being embarrassed. He was being dismantled, step by step, shot by shot. The monster stripped away his options until all that remained was survival. Then came the moment that defined the fight. Maloney stepped in behind a jab, just a fraction too close, just a fraction too slow. Inoue took a subtle half-step back, turned his shoulder, and unleashed a left hook that landed clean and cruel. Maloney hit the canvas, the kind of knockdown that drains resolve as much as it does strength. He beat the count, but the look in his eyes told the story. Inoue smelled blood. From there, it was inevitable. Pressure increased. Shots piled up. And when the final right hand crashed through Maloney's defense in the 7th round, the fight was over. On Halloween night, Naoya Inoue didn't just unify titles. He announced to the world that his power, speed, and precision had followed him into yet another division, unchanged and unforgiving. If Maloney was a test, Nonito Donar was unfinished business. Their first fight had been a war, the kind that leaves scars on both men. Inoue won, but not without suffering a fractured orbital bone, a reminder that even monsters can bleed. When they met again on June 7, 2022, it wasn't just about belts. It was about closure. Undisputed bantamweight supremacy was on the line, so was pride. The rematch began cautiously, both men aware of the danger across from them. But calm doesn't last long when Inoue is involved. Late in the first round, a sharp right cross detonated on Donnair's temple and sent him crashing to the canvas. He rose, but the message had been delivered. This was not the same fight. Inoue surged forward with combinations, his confidence growing with every clean connection. A left hook wobbled Donair. Another sent him down again. The referee watched closely, understanding what Donair himself seemed unwilling to admit, that trading fire with the monster while hurt is a losing gamble. When Inoue dropped him once more in the second round, the fight was waved off. It was emphatic, brutal, final. The doubts were erased, and the rivalry was closed with a period at the end of the sentence. Inoue wasn't just better. He was operating on a different level. That level was on full display again, against Michael Dasmaragas. In June of 2021, a mandatory defense that some might have avoided. Inoue didn't. He never does. From the opening bell, he controlled the center of the ring with his jab and footwork, stalking patiently, forcing Dasmaragas to move, to think, to burn energy, just staying out of danger. The body shots came early and often. Left hooks to the liver landed with sickening thuds, each one stealing a little more breath, a little more hope. When Dasmaragas went down from a grazing shot that barely seemed to land clean, it told you everything about Inoue's power. These weren't wild swings. They were calculated, intentional strikes placed with devastating accuracy. Inoue hunted relentlessly. He hurt Dasmaragas to the body, backed off just long enough to let the pain sink in, then went right back to the same spot. Uppercut to bring the elbows in. Hook around the guard. Again and again. 3 knockdowns later, the fight was stopped. Another challenger folded, another lesson delivered. Against Naoya Inoue, the body is never safe. By the time July 25th, 2023 arrived, the narrative had shifted from whether Inoue could dominate to how. Standing across from him was Stephen Fulton, bigger, confident, and willing to showboat. There were moments early where Fulton moved, bounced, flashed his hands, trying to project control. For a brief window, it looked like he might dance his way through danger. But the monster doesn't chase shadows. He cuts them off. From the opening rounds, Inoue's jab told the story. He won the battle of range, snapping Fulton's head back, mixing levels, stabbing the body, and snapping upstairs. Fulton found himself backing up, pinned near the ropes, struggling to time counters through Inoue's tight defense and blinding speed. As the rounds wore on, Fulton's confidence faded. Blood trickled from his nose. His wide stance betrayed him as Inoue punished him with straight rights and hooks whenever he crossed the threshold. Every attempt to exchange was met with heavier, cleaner fire. Inoue's pressure was suffocating, intelligent, relentless. Then it happened. A massive right hand followed by a left hook sent Fulton crashing to the canvas. When he rose, he was swarmed, trapped, overwhelmed. The referee stepped in, and the dancing stopped. In Tokyo, under the bright lights, Naoya Inoue had taken another belt and another reputation, humiliating a man who thought movement alone could save him. If anyone still questioned Inoue's resilience, they found their answer on May 6, 2020.